Who mourns for the fallen soldiers of Ridgeway? Most Canadians probably have never heard of the Battle of Ridgeway, a battle waged 150 years ago near the town of Fort Erie, Ontario. It involved Canadian patriots going up against an invading force of about 800 Irish Americans known as the Fenian Brotherhood. The Fenians were hoping to temporarily take Canada hostage in order to force the United Kingdom to get out of Ireland. However, the Fenians were met by thousands of volunteers who comprised the militias of the day, such as the Queen's Own Rifles and the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry. Those soldiers ranged from shopkeepers and school teachers to university students and farm boys. They faced off against a heavily armed and battle-hardened group of Civil War veterans. The Battle of Ridgeway in 1866 was the first modern industrial-era battle to be fought by Canadians, and it was the last battle fought in Ontario against foreign invaders. What's more, the Battle of Ridgeway proved to be enormously significant when it came to the formation of Canada, as the outcome greased the wheels for Canadian independence. The colonies came to realize they could better defend themselves rather than relying on Britain for help, given that no British military personnel were present on the field at Ridgeway. And in this regard, Ridgeway accelerated the discussion that led to Confederation, and so it was that Canada was born just 13 months after this battle. But not everyone has forgotten the Battle of Ridgeway nor its significance. About 5,000 people took part in the Sesquicentennial event regarding the Battle of Ridgeway earlier this month in Fort Erie. It was a grandiose affair involving pomp and circumstance, and several dignitaries were on hand, including the Mayor of Fort Erie, Wayne Redekop, the NDP MPP for the riding, Wayne Gates, and Conservative MP Rob Nicholson. But conspicuous by their absence, however, was any representative with the federal government. The snub of the Ridgeway event by the Justin Trudeau Liberals was shocking. Given the importance of this battle to Confederation, one would have expected perhaps the Prime Minister, or at the very least the Minister of Defense, to be in attendance, but the federal government was AWOL. But why? I tried to find out. I reached out to the PMO's office, but my request for a comment was ignored. Meanwhile, a spokesman for the Ministry of National Defense said that Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan was in Singapore attending a conference on Asia-Pacific security issues. And the Minister of Veteran Affairs, Kent Hare, was in Edmonton representing the government at a defense policy review roundtable. Well, okay, perhaps these senior ministers had scheduling conflicts, but surely someone, anyone with the feds could have been dispatched to Fort Erie to make an appearance. Apparently not. Since it's hard to believe that everyone in government was busy that weekend, then what, pray tell, was the unspoken reason for the Ridgeway snub? I reached out to Peter Vronsky, the author of the superb 2011 book Ridgeway, which is subtitled The American Fenian Invasion and the Battle That Made Canada. Vronsky stated that not only was no federal minister in attendance, but financial support from the Federal Confederation Celebration Fund was refused on the grounds that Confederation commemoration is apparently being focused on multiculturalism, not military events, all of which prompted Vronsky to quip, "I guess the Irish invading Canada was not multicultural enough for them." But Vronsky feels there's another unofficial reason for the lack of federal government involvement. He says federal bureaucrats don't want to rock the boat by even discussing the Fenian raids. After all, doing so might open a can of worms regarding the 1885 fatalities that occurred during the suppression of the Métis Cree Northwest Rebellion. And that might lead to sticky arguments about disputed land issues with First Nations. But even so, celebrating those men who made the ultimate sacrifice at Ridgeway should have transcended politics. Sadly, that didn't happen thanks to the snub by the ruling Liberals. And that's a disgrace, especially in regard to those who died 150 years ago fighting for this country. For the Rebel.media, I'm David the Menzoid Menzies.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.